My work involves working with orthopedic surgeons to improve patient quality of life and decrease complications following shoulder replacement. Similar to knees and hips, shoulders oftentimes develop arthritis and need to be replaced using metal and plastic implants. As opposed to these other joints, however, the shoulder requires a special set of muscles called the rotator cuff in order to function properly. Baseball fans in the audience may hear rotator cuff and rotator cuff tears and think of injuries only pitchers experience. But it's actually the most common shoulder injury in the United States and accounts for over 4.5 million clinic visits a year. These patients often have difficulty doing activities of daily life, such as reaching for an object on a shelf or trying to wash their hair. And when you ask these patients to lift their arm as far as they can above their head, they can only present with a shrugging motion, as we see here in the bottom of panel 1. In these patients with severe chronic rotator cuff tears leading to arthritis, normal shoulder replacements will not help them achieve this shoulder function. And until very recently, the only way to treat these patients was shoulder fusion, literally connecting their arm to their shoulder blade using screws and plates. Thankfully, a new device was developed called a reverse shoulder replacement. It gets its name from the way that it alters the natural geometry of the shoulder. The shoulder is a ball and socket joint, which you can think of as a golf ball and a golf tee. Reverse shoulder changes this by reversing this geometry, replacing the ball with the socket and the socket with the ball. This change in geometry allows the patient to use what muscles they still have more effectively, allowing them to regain shoulder function. Unfortunately, this change in geometry has led to a large number of complications. Some of these include dislocation, as well as scapular notching, a phenomenon where the plastic and the bone rub against each other, causing them to wear away. This is where I come in. I create computer models studying reverse shoulder replacements in order to develop new methods of implantation. By doing this in the computer, I can work with surgeons to test new techniques while limiting the potential for unforeseen consequences. An example of this is shown in the top of panel 3, this plastic cup. The medical device company manufacturing this implant currently instructs surgeons to place it neutrally in its tray. However, research that I've conducted has indicated that a slight rotation in one direction can reduce the amount of dislocations that you could have, while a slight rotation in the other direction can increase your risk of dislocation. We hope to use this research to inform the medical device company as well as surgeons of this trend without putting the patient in harm's way. Ultimately, the goal of my research is to use my computer model to identify which parameters lead to complications, inform surgeons of these trends, and ultimately increase the quality of patient health care. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. So I'm originally from Iowa, LeMars, Iowa, if anybody knows that, ice cream capital of the world. So I went here for my undergraduate in biomedical engineering. During that time, I did an internship with an orthopedic company, and that kind of led me down this path for my PhD in this area.
So what did you want to be when you were younger?
I don't really know. I mean, I thought I may be like an engineer in that area. I knew I really liked science and math and technology, so.
But it wasn't always shoulders.
It wasn't always shoulders. I know at one point I was kind of in the line between biomedical and chemical, antibiotics, hearts, stuff like that.
So what do you do when you're not working?
I like to spend a lot of time with my wife. She's very busy as well as me, spending time with my friends and family. I heard somebody say board games. I'm a huge board game nut. Actually just dove into that like maybe a year and a half ago. So.
Do you have a favorite?
I heard Agricola. I really like Agricola.
Okay. I'm not going to go pick this game up.
Yeah.
Sponsorship I'm not aware
I was
of.
gonna say, I see some of my lab mates here, and they're big fans of it too. So
Great.
it takes some time, but I like it.
So what do you see yourself doing in 5 years?
I hope to work in the medical device industry and arena. That's kind of what my research is based on, and that's kind of where I've worked before. So I see a lot of improvement available there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.